Angeles. I'm your host, Duane Cofield. This is Drug Dealers to Businessmen podcast. This is the weekly tap in, and I am tapping in. What is really good, everybody? Hope all is well. Man, we got a lot to talk about today, man. This is episode number 30 of season 3, yo. Checking in with your soul, man. I'm trying to tell you, man, it's been a journey. We're not quitting by any means. We're at this for life. As long as God gives us the breath to come and talk to you guys on a weekly basis. I want to thank all the fans who send their reviews, messages, love. I can feel it. Energy is energy. So those who are watching on the live, man, make sure you put your city where you're repping in and tapping in from, and thoroughly appreciate you. Yeah, man, checking in with that soul. Some of us like, okay, what it do, Sam? Appreciate that, man. Tapping in ATL. Anybody else want to get that shout out, man? Appreciate that. Houston tapping in. What's going on, H Town? See you guys out there. Y'all see I got my Dodgers on. What's going on, John? South Central in the building, LA, as always. You know how beautiful it is out here. So appreciate you guys tapping in. But yeah, man, I'm going with my Dodgers right now. Even though I'm from San Diego, it's Dodgers, baby. I'm a transplant. I'm in LA now. So it is what it is. But yeah, we getting ready. See if we can beat the Padres, keep it going, and get us this World Series real quick. But thank those for who are listening from around the world. Could not do it without Braves. Now I feel you. We took Freddie Freeman from you, man. But anyways, man, those who are listening from around the world, appreciate you. You could be listening to anybody else, but you chose to spend your time with us. So gratitude, always gracious. What's up, Keith and Tanisha? Appreciate you, HD, tapping in. Man, so checking in with that soul. Yeah, man, that's that feeling of unease, right? And I'm like, well, me, like it's decisions. It helps keep me aligned, right? Like because there's it's temptations all over the place, right? Constant temptations all over the place. But it's our soul that keeps us balanced to makes us understand that what this can lead to, right? Based on past experiences, if we had them, right? Sometimes temptation can get us, and that goes for anything. That's just not from a sexual nature, but it's also from a way of thinking. It's also from a way of reacting. Because a lot of times our reactions, we do the same thing over and over again, and we know we shouldn't, right? It doesn't sit right with our soul because apology comes. So whenever we feel like we need to apologize to somebody, and then what happens with that? When we feel like our soul tells us, man, that wasn't right, dog. You wasn't supposed to be thinking like that. You weren't supposed to be speaking about that person like that, right? Because even though right now, LA is in a controversy right now because it was 3 Latinos on the city council that were speaking bad about black folks, and it got recorded. And what's the old saying? It says that whatever's done in the dark will come to light. Facts. Period. Facts. Whatever's done in the dark will come to the light. So the thing about it is, it's basically saying you can't fool God, and your soul will tell you so. So that's why it's so important to constantly check in with it. Like, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Is this what I'm supposed to be thinking? Because a lot of times we can get into a like a pit of thoughts, right? I use the term a pit of thoughts, where it's just you think one thought and you keep going and you're getting saltier and saltier, and next thing you know, it's F everybody. You know what I mean? You get to that point where F everybody, and you're like, man, I'm like, nah. But you can dig yourself a ditch like that, right? Just going down, starting with one bad experience or one bad thought, leads you down a a rabbit hole, right? Because you can't stop then. Oh man, and that's all self-inflicted, right? It's not necessarily what happens to you, but like you said, Charles Swindoll, 90% of what life is, what you do about it, not what happens to you. And that's the thing about it is, right? We take it as personal. We take it as God punishing us. We take it as, the universe is no. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes this stuff is a positive. What does your soul say? What does your soul say? because a lot of, I've been going through some stuff right now, and I'm like, man, I'll make a decision, and maybe people even encouraging you, but it doesn't sit right with your soul. It just doesn't. If it's going out, if it's hitting the corner, what's going on, Steven? Appreciate you tapping in, man. Fifth Ward in the building. But if it's going out with your homeboys, homegirl, you're like, man, this, you know what? This just isn't sitting right. Taking a drink, whatever the case may be, doing something you probably know you shouldn't be doing. How does it sit with your soul? I don't care who sees it. That's the thing. A lot of times we think we can hide it. Oh man, nobody saw this. Nobody. Man, God did. You know what I'm saying? My Khaled voice, right? God did. For real. So we can't hide that part. So a lot of times, and we'll make I've seen people, I'll just give you an example. I was getting off the freeway, and this a lot of times this happens, I'll go in a spiral of stuff that just what's going on, Phoenix? What's up? What up, Cherie? Appreciate you tapping in. Phoenix in the building. Also in the high desert. Appreciate you tapping in. But I go on like the enemy knows what upsets you. We've had this conversation before. So he'll keep putting those things in front of you. Like he knows I don't like litter bugs. And and it was at this time that like he was on a tangent. I was just one thing after another was just bothering me, right? It was, I had a conversation. Start off really on the wrong foot. And I'm gonna tell you what happened. I didn't write my intentions that day. So I didn't tell the universe what I wanted to happen. And it did, and it gave me whatever was somebody else's agenda. So that's why I stress the importance of creating your day by the power of intention, right? Set your intention. What do you want to happen? Write it out line by line. Sounds corny, but it works. And when you don't do it, it's kind of like, having a foundation, a tree versus a piece of grass. They both grow, but that foundation with that tree is a lot stronger. And that's what that intention gives you, as a foundation. I know what I'm supposed to be doing. So I'm not easily swayed. You dig? So I'm not going based on what the weather looks like. It doesn't matter. My intention is my intention, and it'll be done. But I didn't that day, and the darts were coming from everywhere, and people was upsetting me and throwing me off and cut me off in traffic. And then, like, the final straw was I was coming home after work or whatever. Cat got off the freeway and just threw first it was a whole like half a uh, drink right out the window. Another cat threw a bag out the window. And I'm just like, and like I said, God and the enemy know that irritates the shit out of me. It does. So put it right in front of my face, right? How you gonna react to it? And a lot of times, it may not be the enemy, it may be God. How you gonna react to it? And more importantly, what are you gonna do about it? Are you gonna absorb it? You're gonna ignore it? Are you going to go take action, like clean up? So for every wrong that you see, did it inspire you to go do something else? Right. One of my homeboys that I surf with, one of the best things he ever bought me was a trash picker upper from Home Depot. He knows, because when we used to be out there on the surfboards, I used to be talking shit about people throwing trash because we see it in the beach in the ocean. And I'll be like, man, I can't stand that. Da, 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 da. Next thing I know, we come surfing one day. He's like, hey, bro, I got you a gift. I'm like, what? He's like, oh, here, man. To help you pick up trash. So, those type of instances where, you turn a complaint, because I don't like complaining. I'd rather do something about it. I'd rather take action, right? What's the point of complaining if you ain't gonna solve the problem? There's no point in talking about the problem if you don't have an equivalent solution, or you're working on one. Why give the problem power? We've talked about that, right? We talked about the power of our words and what they can and can't do. And they can do a lot. Like, they can do a lot. They can speak things into existence. So check yourself, speak things. I was going to do a thing on vision today because that's such a powerful thing. But I was like, your soul is the thing that balances you, right? You can visualize things, right? And it can be that, but how does it sit with your soul? Being a cutthroat business person, right? One of the things about us, like, we sold some chicken this weekend, and people are starting to really come. Like, it's starting to really be a thing for us. And one of the things about it is we all care about the food. I saw this lady in Carson talking about the same thing. Like your soul, you put everything into it, and you cook it to the point that you would eat it. People gonna love you for it. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not doing any BS, right? So it sits well in my soul when we give out the food and hand it to them. I'm like, man, I know that's gas because I know who hands been on it. You know what I'm saying? And they ain't doing nothing but love. Me too. So that sits well with me. I know that that's something I keep telling them. I'm like, that's the thing that's really gonna set us off. And I'm, nah, they believe it, but I'm like, it's really gonna set us off, and I speak that, other things, other businesses, I'm like, this ain't really me. And you got to be able to be comfortable with that to say something ain't you. The game started sitting, it didn't sit right with my soul. I didn't feel right. I didn't like doing that, catching my come up is that somebody else's downfall, somebody else is smoking rocks. And I'm cool. I'm buying Dayton's and all this other shit. You know what I'm saying? Like on somebody else's downfall, that just doesn't sit right with my soul. You feel what I'm saying? So I don't want to do that anymore. I'd rather sell you chicken. I know it's gonna make you happy. We cleaned it to the umpteenth degree. We did everything we were supposed to do with it. Blessed it, all that. You know what I'm saying? So that sits well with me. I feel better about putting that product out there than a double up or a zip or whatever. Even if I'm helping the homie, like, oh, I'm blessing him, but it's tearing somebody's household up. If you ever been around somebody who smokes rocks, it tears families apart. Motherfuckers steal, lie. So like I said, your come up is somebody else's downfall. That's not business. It doesn't sit right. It shouldn't sit right with you unless you're okay. If you're okay with that, then you know what I'm saying? We gotta check yourself on your moral character and things. You know what I mean? Like, but the average person, you don't want to see anybody hurt. You don't want to see, especially if you've been part of that. You've been part of a household where somebody was on some D and you were a kid, man, chaos. 1000% chaotic. So that, even the money when I started hustling and the money was good. That's cool. But it started like after a while, you like, man, I'm grown. I'm starting to have kids. And I couldn't imagine me being gone, smoked out for 2 or 3 days. You know what I'm saying? And I've seen it break down some of the coldest soldiers. Don't get it twisted. You know what I mean? When Rick James said cocaine's out, some of the coldest soldiers fell victim to that shit. So I've seen it with my own eyes. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, like I said, I can't be part of something that I've seen so detrimental. Right? I can't be part of something. I can't be part of this, even though I'm making money. Like, oh, I can't have an oh well attitude when it comes to other people. That doesn't sit right with my soul. It just doesn't. Doing illegal stuff. Like, man, there's a reason why I don't want this to come back with me. I want to sleep good at night. I don't want to do people dirty because that's blocking my blessings. My blessings are already ordered. I can go mess up the order by talking shit about the cook. Right? My God already got it set up and hooked up, and here I go bad mouthing the cook, man. Cook ain't shit, whoopty whoopty. That's blocking my blessings. And that's the same equivalent as getting into something that you have no business getting into. I don't care who it is. It could be the homie, it could be the home girl, it could be whoever, but if they got you on some shit that doesn't sit right with your soul, F the principles. You got blessings ordered. You don't want to mess up the order. It's coming, man. They starting to cook it and put it together. And here you go, messing with it, man. For somebody else's stuff, somebody else's suggestion or idea, nah, not happening. Not gonna allow it, right? But it takes a strict discipline. It takes understanding the game that you're in. I told you guys a long time ago with spiritual warfare, nothing more, nothing less. And he wants your brain. So just take it to whatever horror movie you want to take it to. But just think the end. So let's go with that. Like horror movie, man. Ultimate objective is the enemy wants your brain. He wants your thoughts so that you can do all this other stuff, almost like a pimp. And that's what it does, right? And it starts with your soul. If I can compromise your soul, meaning that you don't understand the difference between right and wrong, Then you could tell them cats, you could tell the soulless people out there, like, damn, homie, you really ain't got no soul, do you? You don't give a shit. You really don't. And in some instances, some people say that's cool. Oh, the homie don't care. Man, there's a place for them kind of cats. You know what I'm saying? And it's damn near the equivalent to hell. So you better start caring, right? Because there really is an enemy and there really is a hell. These are facts. Right? It doesn't necessarily mean that one's underground and one's gonna come and you could be living in hell as we speak. Mentally, right? Mentally, right? Because people think prison. Oh man, that's dog. Some people need that break, man. There's so much out here. You know what I'm saying? So mentally, a lot of times they get that. Who talked about that? I think it was Mike Tyson. Talked about how he was able to get peace. He had all that money, all that fame, and couldn't get no peace. But until he got to the pen, imagine that. For real, no pressure. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of pressure to maintain if you was one of them about it cats. Right? There's a lot of pressure there. Everybody expecting you to keep taking W's. So you keep putting yourself out there and keep gambling. Even though it doesn't sit right with your soul. You're like, man, I know I shouldn't be doing this shit, but I gotta maintain my image. I gotta maintain my position, in this whatever it is. Right? Because I fell for that game too. I thought my world was way bigger than it was. And once I left it, I was like, oh shit, nobody even knew who you were. You already taking penitentiary chances. You tripping, homie. Right? So those things I gotta in retrospect, yeah, you like, man, what the hell was I doing? But you do deep down inside, you knew you wasn't. That's why we were going to school. That's why we was trying to make that exit plan. Cause we knew we wasn't right. We already knew it, man. This ain't gonna last. Why? Because we ain't supposed to be doing this shit. It's like bank licks and shit. Like, how's it gonna last forever? How do scams last forever? They don't. Why? Because the intention's wrong. What's your intention? My intention when I got in the game was to keep up with my dad. You listen to some of the early episodes and hear that whole story. But yeah, my dad was on the street out there in San Diego. You know what I'm saying? That's when I got cracking. Man, young age, like 12, dog. I think it was 11, 12. I think it was 11 going on 12. I'll tell you no lies, dog. There's cats probably on here that could tell you. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, I ain't saying that to say nothing, but I'm saying my intentions were different. I wasn't out there. And then once I started realizing, I'm like, okay, well, I need some bread. And I was always business minded. I understood how that worked. That was all I needed. Was the motivation was to make sure my dad was, if I'm in the streets, he in the streets ain't too much of that. Even though he was hell on wheels, I didn't need to be out there with him. He used to hang with a pimp named Archie. That was his raw. These is verified facts in San Diego, homie. I'm just telling y'all. But that was what it was. You know what I'm saying? But that was my intention. Even though I didn't want to, I told y'all, man, I wanted to be an oceanographer and an attorney. I didn't want to sell rocks. That wasn't, man. But like things just happen, right? The plug living in an apartment complex, go over there and whoop wham, and next thing you know, we getting double ups at the rec center. Snap, crack, pop. Really that simple. But it's not anything to brag about, right? I'd rather brag about my transition into another game, right? And being successful in that. I want to be the chicken man on the low though, not like I don't want to be on the front. So that's why I'm like, man, building this business for my mom and my kids, right? So that they got somewhere to go. That sits right with my soul. Like, I don't mind. We was working our asses off all weekend. We worked the whole weekend, sold chicken. We from 10 to 3, but all the prep that we need to do before and then all the breakdown, fryers, all that. We work. But it's for the future. It's for my kids, right? This is how legacies are started. That sits right with me, right? That's cool. I'm okay. I'm still going to PhD route, but then trying to build this other stuff too, so that they got something to chill with. What sits right with your soul? Who sits right with your soul? Because some people go around, you come around them, and they're like, they bring out something about you, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like you can feel their energy. That shit is real. That's like cats robberies and all that. You can feel the energy. Like this cat can't hates me. You can like, oh, you look to the where you pop up at, you know what I'm saying? And be ready, because hey man, there you go. That's as close to Lucifer as you getting ready to see. There you go. There, right? Do it with the beanie or do it whatever. The salty looking one. Yeah, that one. So figure it out quick. This is game, I'm telling you. That's how fast it approaches, right? But you can get out of it. Anytime God is there, don't trip. You're good. God is in total control, 100% in control. So keep that in mind right there as you navigate through life, because they're going to be landmines. I promise you that. But as you get more experience, as you develop as an individual, right? Whatever lane you choose to thrive in, everybody's gonna have landmines. Like I said, and I talked about it, I think it was 2 weeks ago. Everybody's got their own path to get to their destination. We may all start at different areas. We may hear each other and cross paths at different areas, but you still on your path. It's for you. You got the right boats and everything, right? You got your instructions. And there's all kind of there's detours and there's rocks and slippery shit and all that on the hike. Just have fun and make sure you're paying attention, because that's what God wants you to do. Look at the journey, right? Appreciate this, right? We're moving too fast. I tell my students that all the time. Can't wait to graduate, professor. I'm out of here. Man, please slow down. It is you don't rush through this. You know what I'm saying? Things take time to formulate. God's got a lot going on. I told you before, he got a lot of pots, right? If we're gonna reference the cook game, he got pots going all at different levels, right? He's in the back just getting started, he's foaming up, whatever. Somebody was like, man, you can't compare God and can't compare God and Yola. I'm like, what? If anybody can, I can. You dig? If anybody can, I can. Because me and God been at it for a minute, homie. What's going on, family? AZ tapping in. What's going on, Oklahoma? I see you, CJ, man. Appreciate you tapping in, homie. But yeah, if anybody could talk that, I remember Steve Harvey talked to you like, man, I'm one of God's other soldiers. I'm one of God, one of them other ones, not the Bible one. No, I'm one of them other ones. And I'm the same way. Like me and God been rocking for a minute, homie. I can call him directly. He send them, right? I just get to praying. I'm like, man, I don't even want to have to call the homie like that. But I do. And shout out to my guy, Kevin Nash, who was like, man, why would I call human before I call God? Why would I ask a human before I ask God? Why would I? They're limited in their power and their decision making. God isn't. God is abundant and omnipresent. He's everywhere. So he can bring it to you and give it to you when you need it, not when you want it. There's two differences, right? Not when you want it. Wants can be subjective, right? Wants can be based on the wrong thought. It can be based on what somebody else thinks, but needs, God got you. Like, damn, I didn't know I needed that. Right? Oh, at the right time too. Yeah. Right. So we trip off of things like letdowns. Damn, why did this happen? But we're glad that it did so that we could get to this other stuff that sits right with us, right? Because there's certain things you're like, man, this just don't, no matter what they say or how people try to, man, it's like people, right? You just like, man, something ain't right about this cat. And 9 times out of 10, that's your soul, man. God like giving you radar. He's sending you instructions, man. Let me type this shit out for you so you can get it. Then you get Morse code all up in the gut. Right? You getting taps all in the gut. You going around catching the meter start going up higher. You like, oh, okay. I need to back away from you, homie. You know what I'm saying? Or I need to or vice versa, right? You get that positive energy. You get that good vibe when you get around someone. You're like, man, you got something good about. I don't know what it is, but man, you got good energy. And I was at the bank the cat told me, man, you got good energy. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, man, hopefully that's a gift of mine that I could share with other people, get them going. You know what I'm saying? If that's my talent, let me develop it. Let me give it to somebody so I can, let me show up, dog. Real simple. Let me just show up in who I am. We talked about duplicates, how you can't try, no matter what, you can't try to, man, do you, dog. Your draws is your size, homie. Quit trying to walk in somebody else's. You feel what I'm saying? It's hard, right? It's man, man, just realize, man, God got you to where you are, man. So when you live in that truth of who you are, you're gonna shine, homie. It's gonna feel right. You're gonna sit in your man. I don't feel nothing else but blessings coming my way. And I'm gonna keep passing them. I'm gonna like as they come, I'm but just keep passing them on here, man. You need to be here. Because that's how God works. He gonna continue to give them to you. I keep looking around. I'm like, man, I cannot believe that I'm pinching myself. This is fascinating, right? Everything I asked for because I walked the way he told me to. Even when everybody else was telling me otherwise, man, I walked according to what he told me. Put my headphones on, turn my beat on, and strolled, homie. Period. As difficult as that is, right? Because everybody else's shit is hella loud, right? But strolling to your music, putting your headphone, man, I'm straight ahead. I don't hear you. Throwing my Denzel Stunner shades on and go west. I'll take my instructions from God. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you talking, but I ain't, I'm rocking with God's instructions, man. I'm going with my gut, man. Hopefully he taps into that. But you ask for it. If you can't get an answer, you go to God and ask for it. You pray. Tell me what, man, lead me, guide me. Let me get in the car. I don't want to drive on this one. Right? I don't want to drive. I don't have it. I don't have the capacity. I need you to tap in with me, God. And you gotta ask for it. And you hear that from every cat, right? We all these cats we look up to that's yawling. What do they talk about? God. That's it. They don't talk about nan cats. The ones that's off the hook, they don't talk about none of that. Oh, this cat. Oh man, let me give a shout out to my manager. They like, man, this blessing, the manager couldn't make happen, homie. This was God. God. Pay homage, homie, and pay respect, man, and understand that there's only certain people that can give you that kind of edge, give you that kind of blessing when you actually need it. Not when you want it. I want to be clear on that. When you need it, he's coming with the force and pull you up out of something or push you into something. Because even when he pulls you out of something, we think that we're being disappointed. We think that we're losing. We're taking an L. That's an opportunity, man. There's a thing called opportunity cost I talk about in business all the time. And that's if I'm doing something here, that means that's costing me an opportunity over here. So I can't be in two places at one time, you dig? So what is my opportunity cost? If I'm doing this job, I can't be doing something else. I can't be studying. I can't be, or vice versa. If I'm studying, man, I can't be earning my opportunity cost for earning money. I'm the. So as people like, what's the opportunity cost for kicking it with the homie? Right? Oh, I'm spending time over here. Okay, but what could I be doing? What could I be learning about? Right? The book that I got for y'all tonight is called Kiss, Bow, and Shake Hands. Anybody familiar with that one? And what you learn about is other cultures, right? Historical context, how they got started, who they went to war with, why they think the way they think. Because we need to understand how people think, right? In order to really, really be successful, I think, in business in general, right? But to get deeper into understanding people and get out our own way, right? To make us understand, be more present. We can also gain business like that, right? You know a little bit about somebody's culture, you know how to approach them. You're in that country, you know how to slide and navigate. You know what's up, right? So just like Belize, I was reading about Belize and the history of the Belize. It used to be called British Honduras, right? And they just got their freedom in 1981 in terms of being just 100% liberated and being Belizean. And it's 50 grand if you want to be a Belizean citizen, just like that. So these little tidbits, this cocktail conversations, you slide to a Belizean festival, you know the history of it. You understand why they do what they do. The Creole side of it, the African side, all that. But it's paying homage and respect to people. So I dig it. That sits right with my soul, understanding and getting to know people. I'm nosy to a certain extent, but it's the reason why, so I can understand better. So I take it upon myself to go look at these other things, right? So that's the book is a book for cultures, just to learn about other cultures. And if you're in business and you're dealing with other cultures, especially Latinos or anything like that, or Asian or just Indian, it gives you all kind of cultures. It's definitely a dope book. But I digress. I'll show you guys in a second. But yeah, you got to check in with your soul from time to time to make sure you on the right path, homie. To make sure you ain't doing something just to make ends meet. Because sometimes we have to do. I get it, right? But there's always an opportunity to check in with what you should be doing, right? It takes time, it takes practice, it may take a different kind of discipline. But check in with your soul to make sure you're on the right path. You're like, man, you know what? I feel good right now. I may not have what I want. I may not have the place. I remember we was in our apartment. We had no idea we was getting a house. And I said, you know something? God ain't gonna give me something if I ain't taking care of what's in front of my face. Why would he bless me with something bigger? So I had to appreciate where we were. It's not looking at the next stage. So you know what? I'm here right now. I'm gonna make the best of this right now. I love where I'm at right now. Appreciate it. And I'm gonna start showing you, God. And sure enough, I cleaned up more, took more time in the bathtub and scrubbed and did all this stuff, right? And lo and behold, it wasn't long before we was up out of there. So that's the thing, right? A lot of times in our current position, man, we can get ugly with things. We can become bitter, right? With our circumstance. We can get salty. We can get all this stuff because we ain't where we supposed to be. But God very well may be testing us to see, how is your soul, homie? You know what I'm saying? What is you what's wrong with you, dog? And when a lot of times when we can't move, we can't get ahead, it's because something ain't right in the guts, homie. Right? And that's where our intention comes from, our soul. That's where intention is born, is inside your soul. What kind of motherfucker are you? Period. You know what I'm saying? Excuse my French, but what kind are you? You solid, you good, you know, what's your guts like, dog? And that's what we have to ask, man, what's my guts like, homie? I don't care what the streets, I don't get, man, what kind of person are you? Do you give? Do you show love? Are you an undercover hater being salty with everybody and talking trash about everybody on the low? Do you secretly wish somebody not success to be unsuccessful? We got to check in with our soul to make sure that we ain't on that bullshit. Because if we do, don't be surprised when man, where my blessings at? That's like when you trying to eat food. Man, where my order at, dog? Man, I ordered cheeseburger, man, an hour ago. Yeah, but you've been wolfing about the chef the whole time, dog. You've been over here salty about this couple across the way because they kids whoopty whoopty whoop. You've been over here talking trash, da. Blocking. The cook hearing you like, man, the last thing I'm about to do is send this cat's cheeseburger out here. I'm about to put it on the back burner until he starts respecting people. So I'm telling you, your intent comes from your soul. Make sure your soul don't stink, homie. And if so, man, clean that shit. Clean it, fix it, whatever. But you got to do something about it because if your soul is funky, your intent gonna be funky. Therefore, your results gonna stink. That will conclude our weekly tap in for this week. I hope you enjoyed this one, checking in with your soul. It's our last episode of this season. So we'll take a small little hiatus. I may tap in from time to time, but it won't be long before we start season 4. So any questions, man, make sure you guys send them. I appreciate you guys. Let me show you guys the kiss, bow, or shake hands. I'm gonna go ahead and pull that up so you guys can see um the book and see what you like about it. Um it's really good. I learned a lot about it. If you're giving gifts to people from a different like nationality or whatever, you want to make sure that you don't offend them. Like if you look at like Greek, I'm sorry, like Indian, right? So if you look at Indian, let me pull it up right there. Let me show you guys. Here we go. Hold on, let me put it in the thing, show and stream. There we go. So it talks about business entertaining. Let me go back to like the table content so you guys can see that. Um, yeah, so here's a table of contents. So Philippines, Portugal, Romania, Spain, South Korea. Let's see, it goes more to the Philippines, but it just talks about why they speak in the tones that they speak in. All the hold on, let me go to it. Hopefully you guys can see this. So it gives you the country background. That's what I'm reading right now. I'm just letting y'all know what I'm reading right now. Let's see. It starts with Argentina, but it gives you. Let's see. Should be. Yeah. So they give you a little quiz on Argentina at first, and yeah. So that's what I'm on right now, man. Appreciate you guys as always. Make sure you guys leave us a review. We need some reviews from you guys, man. So if you can be so kind and head over to iTunes, leave us a review on iTunes. Not just a rating. We need the rating, but we also need the actual physical review. Say something cool, whatever it's doing for you on a weekly basis, and we gladly appreciate it. But on that note, brothers tapping out. God bless.